Okay. Let's talk to Ron Jaworski. His dreams were dashed yesterday. He's got to answer. Right? We're going to put Jaws on the stand because Jaws is a Goffman.
You're going to put Jaws. We have nothing to do with this. I want to clarify.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk a lot of football with our guy, Ron Jaworski. But we will also talk some golf with him because yesterday, a great golf outing, Dick Vermeil golf outing related to the Boy Scouts, raising money for them. Ron Jaworski's group on his home course that he owns, Downingtown Country Club. He owns it. And he lost on his home course to the Hammer. Good morning, Joss.
Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Rhea. Good morning, John. How's everybody doing?
Good morning,
Joss.
So, first of all,
troubled.
Thank you, first of all, playing yesterday.
Oh, my
and second of all, for warning me yesterday before you left the club that you were going to shred me in the morning. So I appreciate the heads up. So, Joe, let's get serious here.
Okay.
Let's get real serious. It was a scramble. You had 4 teammates. You guys finished 14 under par to win.
That's right.
That means your team hit 58 shots, 58 good shots to win.
Yep.
How many of those 58 shots were yours?
I estimate about 7.
There's no way, Joe. I've seen your game.
So, Jaws, here's what I'm hearing from you. You're ripping your teteammates right now. You're saying your teammates weren't good enough.
Not. No, I'm not.
Sounds like he's ripping you. He's ripping you for overestimating your contribution.
I think your pencil has an eraser on it.
Well, we did have 10 mulligans. Oh, and we used them.
Now the truth comes out.
And we used those 10 mulligans. All right, Jaws, great seeing you and Liz
right?
yesterday. By the way, Jaws, all jokes aside, congratulations, you and Liz, on your 50th anniversary recently. That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's awesome, Joe. Thank you so much. The last 50 years with me is amazing in itself. So I'm great to have a wonderful wife to deal with me for 50 years, and obviously 3 great kids and 7 grandsons. So a lot goes on in the Jaworski household. But
no doubt. Well, Jaws, we're so happy for both of you. All right, Jaws, let's get to the Eagles. There's a lot going on here. I mean, to a certain extent, there's nothing going on because everyone's on summer vacation for a month. But there's a lot that happened in the spring. There's a lot that happened in the winter. You know, the thing that obviously Jaws is kind of hanging out there the most right now is the last comment, or not the last comment, but the comment from Jalen near the end of the OTA when he said what he said about Nick Sirianni. I want to play the audio for you and get your reaction. It's the first time we've spoken with you since it. I know you've heard it, but let's play it so everyone, remembers what Jalen said, and then we'll get Jaws' reaction.
Nick being open-minded to change up the offense like he has. I mean, what does that say about him?
I mean, it's a great question. I don't know that I know the answer to it.
Well, what have you seen? What have you seen from him as far as doing that?
I think he's just, he's been great, and the messages he's delivering to the team. He's trying to be very intentional in what he's saying, and yeah.
All right, Charles, that was obviously early June. It was June 7th. When you first heard that, and you know how it's complicated, face of a franchise quarterback, you were that. You were the face of the franchise and the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, so it's not easy to answer all the questions. I thought that one was a pretty easy question. When you first heard it, what was your reaction?
Yeah, quite honestly, I was disappointed. I'm a great fan of Jalen Hurts and his ability. But I think one thing he's got to get better at is his leadership skills and ability to communicate his leadership skills. And I thought that was a great opportune time to say, hey, we made changes in the offseason. Man, I'm excited for Nick Sirianni. I'm great to have Kellen Winslow in here. We made a lot of changes. Man, I am fired up about this team. To show excitement, show passion, show the camaraderie and esprit de corps you have to be successful as a quarterback in the NFL in the consummate team game. He did not come across that way, and that it was the delivery more than what he said. Anything else? If that would have been me, and you alluded to my career and the way I handle myself, I would have shown excitement at that point. That last year is history. I've learned from last year, and man, you now see a changed Jalen Hurts. I did not see that change. I saw the kind of quiet demeanor that he normally shows. And I know you can't change his zebra stripes. I'm not saying that because I know who Jalen is. I know what he is. I know he's a terrific athlete and a terrific person. But as a leader of a football team, I think he has to take it up a notch in his enthusiasm and passion for his teammates and the coaching staff.
What about the question, Jaws? Nick being open-minded to change, what does that say about him?
About Nick?
Yes.
Yeah, I never thought he was not open to change. I mean, if you don't adapt and adjust in the National Football League week to week, you don't last and you don't win as much as Nick Sirianni won. He's 34-17 in the regular season. He knows how to coach. He knows how to win. And we've been talking about for 4 months right now all the mistakes of last season. We know there are a lot of mistakes that were made. Some were corrected, some were not. Some bit the Eagles in the butt and cost a disastrous downfall at the end of the season. But I have still got great confidence in Nick Sirianni. I still have confidence in great confidence in Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
But they've got to correct the mistakes that they made last year moving forward into this season.
What's the biggest thing Jalen needs to improve? What's Jalen's biggest strength?
Well, you asked me the improvement side first. I think it's really handling the blitz a lot better. One thing that's jumped out at me, not only this past year, but throughout his career, he has struggled with the blitz. And now that's not always on the quarterback.
Right.
There are site adjustments. There are protection breakdowns. There's your running backs have to be able to block. All those things come into play. But the one area that has hurt the Eagles' offense has been their ability to handle a blitz. So it always starts with the quarterback. Right, wrong, or different, it always starts with the quarterback. And you got to be prepared and understand every blitz package that you're going to see in the course of the game. So I think that's the one thing that clearly they must improve upon. And with Kellen Moore coming in, I think you'll see a different style of offense. You'll see different reads, different hot reads, different site adjustments. That will all change because you got new eyes on the talent. So I think that will change. So that is the area I think you'll see improvement on.
Charles, on the flip side of that, meaning the positive, John asked about that also. I thought it was pretty clear in his first couple of years, his biggest positive was his natural athleticism and how he used his body to escape people, to get first downs, to extend plays, all that, to run the ball for 9 yards, all that. What did you make of last year, how he was a lesser runner, both choosing to do it less and less effective when he would do it? What did you make of how that happened? And do you think this year they go with, the heck with that, we're going to run him a lot because that's what he needs to do to be at his best?
I don't think you go into a game saying we got to run our quarterback. I think that if there are opportune times to run it, design run plays, you call them. Jalen, like most quarterbacks in their early years, they depend on their ability to run. And you just think about the quarterbacks that were running quarterbacks. They ran more early in their careers. Then they learned how to play from the pocket. It's the evolution of the position. Hey, you're not really good in those first couple of years of reading defense, reading hots, getting the ball out of your hand, reading coverage, reading all the things that are important. As time goes on, you get better at that, so you play from the pocket. By the time you get the ball in your hands and that back foot hits on your drop back, you have read the coverage. You know where the football goes. That's just the evolution of the quarterback position. I do not think Jalen was 100% healthy last year. I just don't. I think early in the season he took some hits, and I don't think he was the same guy. But I would still rather see him play the game from the pocket and take the running opportunities when they present themselves. And there will be times in the course of the game where you're going to have to call quarterback runs and zone reads and things like that. But let's be real about this as well. NFL defenses have adjusted and adapted to how to stop all these quarterback runs and all these quarterback zone reads. So you got to combat that with something else. And I would say if you play from the pocket first and get the ball in the hands of the playmakers, gives you your best chance for success. And by the way, this offense is loaded.
Yep.
It is loaded. It is loaded with talent. Right now, if you look at what he has to be, what Jalen has to be, is a distributor. Yeah. Get the ball in the hands of these playmakers. I'm excited about this offense.
Totally. No, the offensive talent's incredible. Jaws, I want to go back to something you said about 45 seconds ago. The defenses have adjusted. Can you detail, without overcomplicating this, because you look at the film, you know what you're talking, like, obviously. What did the defenses do differently? What did you notice on film the defenses were doing to combat what had worked for the first couple of years so well with Jalen and the Eagles' offense?
Yeah, I think we saw a little more mush rush, and I'll go back to the Ray Rhodes comments of his tenure here in Philadelphia, and he loved that mush rush talk, and I think that's what teams decided they were going to do against Jalen. They were going to mush rush him, stay in their lanes, and not give him those quick lanes to dart out of there. And every study has shown that he wants to move to his right, so teams that were left-handed on defense would force him to go to his left. So that negated what he wanted to do. Just think of the safety sack against Tampa in the playoffs. They made him move to his left.
Yep.
He got caught up in his own tied up his own feet and went down, and the Buccaneers get a sack at a very inopportune time for the Eagles. So I think teams, they adapt, they adjust, and hey, there's a big library on Jalen Hurts right now. A lot of it is really, really good. A lot of it is really, really great, but teams are going to try to play to your weaknesses, and I think that's what happened.
How important is the vocal leader aspect? We know that the team wanted him to improve on that part. Have you seen improvement in that area? How difficult is it to improve that? It seems to me like you kind of are who you are. It would be difficult to change that and to make it believable for my teammates as a leader.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that, John. I said it earlier. It's hard to change the zebra stripes. You are who you are. You're the personality that you are. But I also think there comes a time where you evolve as well as a person, as a quarterback, and you exude that leadership. And, hey, I'm sure there have been many conversations, down at the NovaCare Center about the style of leadership that Jalen should be having. Hey, when you're winning, all those things are all great, and people forget about, some things you say. But when you're losing, everything gets doubled, tripled, and compounded. But I was one of those guys, and I'm not saying I'm right, wrong, or different. I was a very enthusiastic leader. That was my personality.
Yep.
I don't expect people to change, but I also think he's got to become a little more open with his teammates. Now, hey, I'm not in that locker room. Maybe there are things he does that I'm unaware of. But I also think I'm fairly wired into people down there that I talk to on a somewhat regular basis, and. The tenor down there is they would like to see him become more of that vocal guy, more of that guy with a smile on his face, having fun playing football, having fun playing the game. I quite honestly did not sense last year Jalen was really enjoying being the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, even at 10-1, he seemed kind of unhappy after a lot of wins. Ron Jaworski with us here. All right, Jones, let's talk about some other aspects of the team.
Sure.
Because there are a ton of things going on. Super Bowl aspirations. Is the defense good enough, Joss?
Not right now, but I think it has. If you look at the draft, I mean, how can you not be happy with DeJean and Mitchell? You got two really talented corners that are going to be the corners for the next 10 years here in Philadelphia. But let's get real here. Vic Fangio has to get this team playing up to their potential. They did not play up to their potential last year. Boom, plain and simple. I can't tell you where the blame is, but that team did not perform to its capability. Vic Fangio, who I've known for 40 years, is an awesome coach. He's a no-nonsense, no BS kind of guy. Do your job. He'll kick you in the butt. He'll pat you on the back. He'll hug you. He'll kiss you. But he's also going to be in your face when you screw up. It's kind of an old-school coach. And I think, quite honestly, that's the demeanor this defense needs, an old-style type coach that's not going to be your buddy unless you perform. So I think the defense is a big question mark. There certainly is talent. But I think if Vic Fangio can get this group playing well early, and it's quite honestly, I think it's going to be tough early. There's going to be a lot of obviously a new system, new coaching staff on that defensive side of the football. It's going to take a little time for that defense to evolve.
Jaws, let's talk about one of the really key players for this defense, and he's one of the highest paid players on the defense, Bryce Huff. So when this season starts, a lot of us are going to focus on him because, candidly, most of us, not you, have really never focused on him in a football game. You've obviously had a chance to see him and watch his film. Is Bryce Huff legit? 3 years, 50-something million. Is he legit, Jaws?
I can't answer that definitively, but what I saw on tape, quite honestly, I would say probably not. You look at his sacks. There are a number. He wasn't like beating people. There were a number of. If you look, you just pull up a sack reel and then you look at it and say, "Wow, there are a number of times he wouldn't even block." It was errors on the offensive line, errors in the backfield, errors in the tight end that they didn't block him. He had clean shots to the quarterback. He is obviously a very gifted athlete. He's kind of a late bloomer. For 2 years, he had a hard time getting on the field. He had an explosive season last year, but I just hope we're not getting a one-year wonder. I'm going to trust Howie on this one that he sees something very special in the young man, but I think it's a lot of money off the salary cap to pay a guy that really is a one-year wonder. But hey, hopefully he'll prove me wrong.
So if we eliminate AJ, Devontae, Saquon, and Dallas, who do you like that we can throw the ball to? Who do you especially like that you saw sort of showed up in our camps and OTAs this summer?
Well, by acquisition, I like Paris Campbell. I think there's a guy that comes with some pedigree, game experience. I think he's a guy that can fit into this scheme. This team doesn't need another dynamo. It needs a nice, steady player that on 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, those possession downs, you got a guy that you can rely on. And from what I've seen in Paris Campbell, he is that guy. He can get open, he can catch the football, and he makes the tough catches.
Charles, let's round this out here looking at the competition, both within the division and the conference, Dallas and San Fran. Let's start Dallas, and Ron Jaworski with us here. Let's start Dallas. Charles, it seems like it's been a very strange offseason for Dallas. They did not acquire many players. They have not yet signed to a long-term contract. Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, or CeeDee Lamb. What do you make of what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys?
I don't want to read too much into it. They will sign eventually Dak Prescott. They have to. There's no doubt in my mind. They're playing games. The quarterback is, and Jerry Jones is. Micah Parsons is a freak. I mean, he's an absolute freak. If they can get him focused 100%, he'd be scary. He's that kind of football player. And CeeDee Lamb is clearly one of the best receivers in the game right now. So, when you talk about those three guys, they have three impact players, but they don't have the depth surrounding those guys that the Eagles have.
What about San Francisco? So you were part of a team, obviously got to a Super Bowl. I mean, you guys started off in 81 after losing in 86-0, and then things trailed off. The history is so overwhelming. Getting to a Super Bowl and losing, and the Eagles in 2022 to 2023 showed it again. Just hard to do it. What do you make of that reality for San Francisco, which many people view as the Eagles' main threat within the conference?
Yeah, and I would probably agree with most of the people that say that. I think they're just a well-oiled organization. They seem to do things the right way. They're competitive. They draft quarterbacks that they make mistakes on. They find guys at the last pick in the draft, and all of a sudden he becomes an all-pro player. So with Brock Purdy. So, they have done a really good job with their draft. John Lynch knows personnel. He's a former player. He knows how to draft. He knows how to build a team together. And Kyle Shanahan knows how to coach. So they are a good football team with a good organization that makes very few mistakes. Now, hey, the NFL is competitive. You make mistakes, but they make very few mistakes. So I would agree. Those are probably, and we're going to find out early in the season, too. Green Bay is a good football team.
Yep.
We're going to find out real early down there in Sao Paulo, Brazil, how good we are and maybe how good they are. So I think the first 4 games this Eagles season are going to be really, really critical to this football team.
Hey, Jaws, awesome stuff, man. First off, great seeing you yesterday. Love the football commentary here today. And as always, thanks for being a good sport, because it's not often that,
I know, Joe, don't you start me. We're going to say goodbye.
No, you know what?
Again in golf.
One more thing, Jaws. Peter Laviolette has a message.
You embarrass me. I can't deal with
well,
it.
Peter
Jaws, he said
Laviolette.
seven of those shots belonged to him.
I might be exaggerating, by the way.
The best group that won the tournament.
By the
were
way,
Joe DeCamera
Jaws,
shots.
Peter Laviolette has a message for you about your golf game.
Enough is enough. Start playing with some jam in here. Let's go.
Come on, Jaws. You on the
You
course.
do not have the right.
Films out. We're gonna film your entire round.
Jaws, love you, my man. Thanks so much, and thanks for being a good sport.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Jaws.
Jaws.
All right, there he is, Ron Jaworski. I had to get my shots in. That's all good. Listen, I'm never going to beat him in an athletic competition again. Let me have a day, John. Can I have a day?
But you didn't really have a day. Like it wasn't you.
Now that I think about it, in the last couple months, I beat Ron Jaworski in golf and Harold Jensen in a free throw shooting contest. Seltzer.
Wow.
That ain't bad.
This is ridiculous.
That ain't bad.
This is
I'm just saying.
nonsense.
It's not
Free
as good.
throw shooting is an athletic competition.
It's sort of.
No.
It's like bowling. It's like, it's right on the line.
Bowling is more.
Bowling
Yeah,
is
it's actually-
absolutely more athletic,
Yeah,
without
it
a
is.
doubt. Yes.
It is more
You
athletic.
actually have to move to bowl.
Do you agree or disagree?
Bowling. What's the question?
Bowling is more athletic than free throw shooting.
I agree with that,
Yeah.
but it's more dorky.
Probably.